let's just say I've seen every serial killer this side of the Mississippi for the last like 100 years.
Congratulations on the film. Was on the edge of my seat. What drew you both to the project and what was it like working together?
What drew me to the project was I'd never done anything like this. I like movies like this, dark, scary, suspense thrillers, up against the clock. All of that. I like the elements of this thing. Plus, it was pretty dark, and I think that sometimes I like watching movies like that. I'm not necessarily a big scary movie guy, but I do like movies that scare me. And in this character, I really understood this character. I think being a dad who works a lot, my work takes me on the road a lot, brings me a lot of guilt because I'm not there as much as I'd want to be. And I think that this character is really going through that as well. Is trying to right the wrongs of his parenting past by, retiring early and mending that relationship with his son. And I think that while my relationship is good with my kids, I'm really conscious of making sure that that they know that they are the number one priority.
And me? I I mean, I was very excited to jump on set with Josh. Obviously, he's great to work with, if you can get over the scent. And I think like in general, this was a very interesting. This was an interesting shoot. It's like Josh said, it's a lot darker than I think people are even used to seeing me portray. But I love a challenge. I also wanted to play the character where I feel like you could empathize with him. Like the takeaway was that you saw the steps at which he was driven to what he did. And even though you might not agree with his like method, you see how he gets there at least. And so that was fun for me to play. And it's a little bit of a departure from what I'm used to. So I had a great time on set. And it was a fast shoot. We shot in 3 weeks in total, and I was only there for a week and a half of it. So it was great.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty quick turnaround time.
It's a
Yeah.
crazy amount of
Yeah.
time to be like in that headspace.
But
Definitely.
a movie like this is good to be able to shoot something, with that kind of a pace and that kind of efficiency because you never get a chance to come down. You're always kind of at a 10 the whole time. And for my character, he was there the whole time. He had to be. So then it was just a matter of finding interesting ways to play it at 10.
And Josh, as a parent yourself, how did that impact preparing for this role where you had to display such a level of desperation to find your child?
It's one of the things I hate and it's one of the things I love about this job is that you're forced to think about things you don't ever want to think about. Uh, you know, to imagine something like this happening to one of your own kids or any kid really is too much. But weirdly, it is cathartic in a way because you have to go to these places that you would never otherwise go. You have another level of perspective and appreciation, I think, for the peace and serenity in your life. And I think that's one of the fun, unexpected byproducts.
Yeah, so many complex themes as well, and messaging and kind of layering back why these characters are who they are and how they act. So I'm sure that that is definitely a big part of it. And Dylan, how do you mentally take on that complicated role of a serial killer? Did you take any inspirations from films or shows or books?
One method. So I really killed people. And
You're like, well, actually,
well, funny that you mention it. I've left us clues. No, I don't know. I mean, I didn't look at him as like a killer. I looked at him more as a very damaged kid, and I feel like first off, you can only prepare so much before you jump in on set with your fellow actors and actresses and actually fill the shoes. So again, testament to Josh and our other talent that I was able to get there. But I don't tend to like. I know I'm a bad actor for saying this, but I don't tend to watch movies and I don't tend to watch films. I tend to like if I'm doing research for something, I tend to go down like a YouTube rabbit hole instead of go down like a film and television route because I try to, find the truth in like, interrogation videos and weird stuff like that. I'm thankful though for my wife who watches like this is the kind of genre of movie that she just loves. She's like very excited for the premiere and she hasn't seen it yet, so she's like jumping out of her seat to see it. This is her bread and butter. So I've gotten a feeling for the vibe that we're invoking. I mean, she's Hungarian, she's Eastern European, or they would say Central European. So there's like a dourness there where they need that, like that they crave the thrilling suspense movie. So I was thankful to have that retinue to pull from too. And also, you want to always bring your own experience and you meet a lot of creepy people in LA and I was able to just, channel some of that. So
Yeah. Are you big Criminal Minds fans? Like that, I feel like was such a show that I always watched and I was like, oh my God, I get to like see, do you sit back and turn that on with her?
we watch a lot of my sister-in-law and her watch we like send each other videos of like new murder mysteries coming out like all the time. And their birthdays have been like largely themed after like haunted houses. The escape room was invented in Hungary, which I find kind of funny. But so they're like deep in that. So yeah. So we're locked in. Let's just say I've seen every serial killer this side of the Mississippi for the last like 100 years.
We love the true crime stuff too at our house. So much so that I feel like my wife could literally dispose of the body and never get caught. She's learned so much.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Don't tell ChatGPT that though, because they'll record everything. There are so many action-packed, intense scenes between the both of you. How do you unwind after a day of this hardcore filming?
I think Dylan and I have been doing this for a long time now, and part of what I did early on in my career is I would get so I would go to these places, and I still do. I have to in order to play them realistically. I have to go to like what would that actually feel like right now, and that's not a fun thing to do sometimes because it is so dark. But I've learned how to like sort of dip into that when I need to, and then do whatever I need to do to sort of get away from it. Because for a while there, early in my career, I'd have to do something that was dark, and it would take me days to sort of come out of that. And so I think some of that is actually therapeutic in a way, but I think that yeah, it takes a little while, but it's not like doing a buddy games, or any other light romantic comedy. This is much more intense, and so you're not human if you don't carry some of that home with you.
100%. Yeah. And I have, out of all of the actors and actresses I've met over the years, I think like everyone goes about it in their own way too. I think like at the end of the day, this again was shot really quickly. So it actually, to Josh's point, it helped make that process to dip in and dip out a lot easier. But you live in there for a minute. When you're living in that headspace for 2-3 weeks, you go back to your hotel or your wherever they're renting for you during the production, and you turn on a movie and unwind or watch some sports or do whatever you need to do, and then get ready for the next day. With a schedule like this, though, there isn't much time at the end of the day, right? Like you probably got 2-3 hours before you need to hit the hay, and you're learning your lines hopefully a little bit before then, unless you're a true genius like Josh. You can learn it in 10 minutes because of that soap opera training, dude. But yeah, I think all of that's the same thing. So
Definitely. And, Dylan, so many of us have watched your career evolve throughout the years. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody last year hit its 20-year milestone. Does anything stick with you even today, or what do you reflect on in that time of your life?
look, from the age of like 11 to 16, I was so drunk. I barely remember any of that. Uh, of course. Seriously, though, of course, a lot of it sticks with me. I mean, it's the same way like high school sticks with a lot of people, right? It was my very formative years. from again 11 to 18 actually. So, quite a sizable amount of time. I had a lot of experiences on that soundstage in Hollywood, and I think a lot of really good ones. And I hold those memories very dearly to my heart, and they've influenced my understanding of the industry, and they've influenced my. What's weird to me is that, like, and I was talking about this with a buddy of mine recently, is like that Disney Channel day was so specific. It was such a specific type of media as well. And now it kind of just doesn't exist. Like
No.
it's gone. Like there's no comparable measure for what that is now. And it was a very specific style of TV. It was a very specific day and age what happened. And, my buddy sent me recently the analytics behind like the Hannah Montana reunion. And it was cool to see all of these people that I know personally, but talking about it in such a positive way, which it was, it was a interest. I like to describe it as a very interesting high school. So it was, I think there was a big response to that.
Yeah, the nostalgia, everyone yearns for it. Like tuning into Hannah Montana, Sweet Life of Zack Cody, like we all grew up with it. So awesome to hear that. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah.